Hello everyone, it's Patty Behan and thank you for watching today. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this cute card that uses some glossy accents for dimension and some of the newest Dylusion products. Some stamp sets, this new washi tape, stencils, and ink sprays. So let's get started. To begin, I'm going to make the background for our card. I have here a page from a Dylusions large creative journal and some ink sprays. And I'm going to first spray the background with water from a distress sprayer. And I'll bring it up here, and you want to give it a good spritz so that the ink will move around some. And then I'll start with some Mushy Peas ink spray. And then I'll spray it several times in the background here. And then I have some Periwinkle Blue spray, and I'll add some of that. And then Island Parrot. And then I'll use a paper towel to just blot up the excess. And then you can use any stencil you like to make this background here. This is an older stencil that I use, but you can substitute this with the Doodle It Dialogue stencil. It has the same flowers. And I just sprayed some water on there and I'm letting it sit a second. And then I'll mop up the water with paper towel, and then you'll see that it removes the ink from the place that the water was. And now we'll set this aside to dry. Next, we'll be stamping and coloring on some Distress Heavy Stock, and this is where it gets to be very relaxing. I'm using the fancy Akuppa stamp set and this teacup with the flowers on it, and I'll place it on an acrylic block. And then I'll ink up the stamp with some jet black archival ink, which is the perfect choice since it's waterproof and it's great for watercoloring. And I'll make sure I press it down well to get a good clean image. And then next I'll be using the Everything Stops for Tea stamp set and this cute teapot with the dots on it here. I'll place that on my stamping block and again ink it up with jet black archival. And now it's time to color it in. And what I have here are some Tim Holtz detail water brushes, and I filled them up with Dylusions ink sprays. And it's a good idea to label the water brushes so you know what color is in there. And I'm going to begin by coloring our teacup with some Blue Lagoon, and I'll color in the background. And when I'm coloring, what I like to do is go around the outline and then fill in the larger spaces. This makes it easier to stay within the lines. And then I'll color in the flowers with some cherry pie, lemon zest, a little bit of pure sunshine, and for the tea I use melted chocolate, and for the teapot I use peony blush, Blue Lagoon, and some lemon zest. Okay, and once that's done, it looks like this, and we'll put this aside and go on to the next. Now I have my background here, it's dry, and then I cut out my teacup and pot, and I used an X-Acto knife to cut out the center of the handles here. And we're going to place the background on top of an A2 size card, so we want to cut this down. And let me grab my card here. I made this out of Distress White Heavy Stock, and it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when it's folded, an A2 size. And I'm going to cut this background down into the same size, and I'll pick the part that I like the best, which I think is right there. And again, I'm going to trim it down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And you can save the pieces that you don't end up using. Alright, now that I have that cut out, I just want to place these pieces on here, and so that I can pour some tea into my cup. And I'll just straighten this out a little bit here, and I'm going to add some double-sided tape to the back of this now because it'll just make it easier to glue down if I have this prepared already. So I want to put a length of tape across all 4 sides of the back here. Okay, and once that's done, I'm going to take this washi tape here. I wanted to show you this is new. It comes with all these rolls here, and I'm using one that has a zigzag pattern on it. And once I find the beginning, I'm going to place this as a border around the entire card, and I'm going to leave about a 1/16 of an inch at the top here. Just let a little bit of the card peek through. And then I'll just do it around all 4 sides, and I'm not even mitering the corner, I'm just matching the ends. Okay, and once that's done, this is what it looks like. We just have that little border around the edge. Now let's place our pieces on the card, and I've already put some double-sided tape on these, and you want to make sure you put a lot because since we painted these, this will make sure that they lay flat. Now I'm taking a water brush filled with melted chocolate ink, and I'm going to draw some tea pouring out of the kettle and into the cup. And since I want to make sure this stands out on the background, I'm going to take a water brush filled with water, and I'm just going to paint where I want the tea to come pouring out. And I'll blot the water with the paper towel and repeat, and then add in my melted chocolate ink. Okay, and once that's done, that's what it looks like. And one last thing to do before we add our glossy accents here, I'm going to write our sentiment onto the card, and to do that I'm going to use some Letter It black fine liner pens. I have them in a number 9 and a number 1. But before I do that, I'm going to write our sentiment with the pencil, and I'm going to write, "Let's make time for some tea." And then I'll go over it with my number 9 marker here, and then I'll add some little dots to the edges of the letters with the number 1, and I'll take a white eraser and lightly erase the pencil lines, and nobody will know any different that you added your marker on top of the pencil. And now we're ready to adhere this to our card. So I'll just take off the liner paper from the back of the card here to expose the adhesive and glue it down onto the front. And I'll take the glossy accents, and I'm going to apply it to our little stream of tea here, and then the top of the cup, and then also the centers of the flowers and the dots on the teapot. And you can already see how that gives it some nice dimension. I'm going to let this dry and come back and show it to you. Okay, so now you can see that it's dry, and the glossy accents just give it a little something extra, and this would be a great card to give to a friend that you haven't seen for a long time. So if you'd like to give this a try, we have a link to the full supply list in the description box below. And don't forget, for more crafty videos, please subscribe to our channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.